Welcome to Transforming Lives with Dr. Liya. Dr. Liya Mutale is an author, Bible-believing ordained minister of the gospel, entrepreneur, life coach, medical doctor, mentor, mother, strategy policy analyst, and visionary leader. In this podcast, she discusses her book, Transform to Transform Zambia. Episode 5, Chapter 4, Rediscover Who You Are, Purpose.
If you don't know who you are, someone else will try to tell you who they think you are. If you don't know who you are, you will unwillingly allow others to manipulate you and pressure you into believing you are someone you are not. I also want to believe that for one to know who they are and where they're going, one seriously needs to know where they're coming from. Knowing your heritage, your lineage, your genealogy, or family background may seem unimportant to most people, but God must have had good reason to place you in that family. Understand the infinite wisdom of God. He knew you long before you were formed in your mother's womb. He chose a particular woman and a particular man to be the ones to be your parents. He knew what genes he needed to combine. The family in which you are born is important, especially your father's side. This is the time to connect with the elders in your family, who may have a story to tell concerning where you come from. If you have to travel to the village to speak to an old aunt or your old father or uncle, do it. Knowledge will liberate you. It will set you free. You may find answers to questions you have been asking. Knowledge will bring light into your situation. Purpose basically means the reason why something was created. We are all created to become someone or something to fulfill a purpose. We all have been created to answer to a need here on earth. Until you understand that you were made by God for God, life will never make sense. Without a guiding principle, life lacks meaning. Knowing your purpose gives meaning to your life. It motivates you to get up each morning. As long as you have not fulfilled your purpose, you have reason to live. When you know the end of the matter, it becomes easier to develop the roadmap. Purpose will tell you where you are going and why. In the absence of knowing your purpose, your life goals will have little meaning. Understand that fulfillment in life comes from knowing your purpose and taking the journey towards the ultimate goal. Find your purpose in God and pursue it with all that you have. Have a reason to live. Why are you on earth? No matter the reason at that particular moment, pursue it. Everyone is relevant and everyone has a role to play. Be clear of where you want to be. Believe it is possible. Believe in yourself. Renew your mind and think positive thoughts about yourself. For God to fulfill purpose here on earth, He needs you and me to be in the right place at the right time. Who you are affects another person. So you have to become so another can become. Remember that what you are right now is a stepping stone to your becoming who you are. Ask yourself, what things make me unique and different from others? Look, for instance, at your gifts, your talents, and your personality. What is it that I do so easily with very little effort? Or what can I do for free? For most of the time, it could be the thing that irritates you the most that you were created to fix. Everything about you is the way God wanted it to be in order for Him to fix a problem here on earth. Your physical makeup, your personality were all God's plan for you to fulfill your purpose.
This is Transforming Lives with Dr. Liya.
Good evening. Welcome back to Transforming Lives with Dr. Liya. Good evening, Mom.
Good evening.
Always fantastic to have these discussions. And we're back talking about Transform to Transform. The conversations that we are having are based on this book. Mom, tonight we are talking about purpose. Why is it even important for someone to know their purpose?
Well, knowing purpose gives you a reason to wake up or to live. So it's important to know, why am I here? Why am I who I am? Or who am I? Simple, your identity. I think generally in life, people need to ask themselves 5 questions. The first question is, who am I? Okay, that's identity. The second question is, where am I from? That's heritage. The third question is, why am I here? Purpose. The fourth question is, what can I do? Or what do I have? That's potential. And your final question is, where am I going? That's destiny. So if you can answer those 5 questions, then you're good to go.
Why is it important for us to start with God if we're going to discover purpose?
Well, if we believe that God created us, then we should want to believe that He put purpose in us. In the scriptures, He said, I sent my word. My word shall not return to me void. It will accomplish that for which I sent it. So I want to believe that we are all a word. And we've been sent to fulfill a purpose. And we will not go back until we fulfill that purpose. Okay? So purpose was given to us. That's who we are. We already come with the who we are. It's within us.
Does God leave hints? So just so that we know what our purpose is, does God leave hints?
Yes, He does. And the hints that He uses is just your physical makeup, first of all. He created you the way you are for the purpose for which He created you. It's the same as a spoon. A spoon is made the way it is so that it can be used for eating. Exactly. So you are also made the way you are because of a certain purpose that God put in you. He also put talent in you. Your personality. That is very, very important. And I think we have 5 personalities. We have what we call the greens, the emeralds. These are the perfectionists. These are the ones who make sure, if you are seated, they want to put everything in a row. They want to. They're detailed. They can't go on a trip. It must be detailed. We stopped in Livingstone and then for 2 minutes, and then they were, that's the emerald, and they take a long time to make decisions. They're thinkers.
Yes.
Okay, and then we have the pearls. The pearls are the behind the scenes. They don't want to be in the front. They're always behind the scenes. We call them the humble ones. They're the ones who want to help a lot. They want to save even a dying rat. That's the pearl. And then you have the ruby. Okay, the ruby is the hot one. The ruby is the leader.
The cholerics, right? Or in the
yes.
between. Sanguines and cholerics.
This one is a leader. This one is a go-getter. If you are traveling, okay, I can give you an example of myself. Then you'll know which one I am. When we're traveling and we're going to Livingstone, in my head, we're starting off, we're going to Livingstone. I don't have that time of stop and buy tomatoes and buy fish and buy. My car comes back empty. Now, my husband, on the other hand, was very different. He was an emerald. So he will stop, he'll buy pumpkins, and his car will come full, and the kids are always excited. Oh, Daddy's brought this thing. Mommy never brings anything. Why? Because I want to get to the goal.
And even work, I would go, do my job, come out. You know, so that's a red. You know, the reds, they are doers. They just want to get things done. And then you have the blues, the sapphires. The sapphires want to live life. You know, sapphires get excited, yes. If you're in a hole and you just put on a song, they're the first to get up. And then you know, oh, that's a blue. But then you see with personality, we have a major and a minor.
That's true.
Okay? So you could be a red major and a pearl minor. Or, you know, one of the two. And usually in marriage, the way God pairs us, it's usually, my husband was a green and a pearl. I, on the other hand, was a red and a blue. So we matched, we fitted very, very well.
Yes.
It was so interesting how I walk into the house and throw my shoes all over the place and and he'll come behind me, picking everything else because he wants everything in order. You know, you should see the way, you know, before he studies, he would put his books there, the pen there, you know, very emerald, you know, and then me on the other hand, you know, so different. So personality is important, and it also leads you and hints on who you are. Okay, so already in that you can tell, you know, am I a trailblazer? Am I an apostle? And even when you take it from the Word of God, we read about the different, the callings of God. The apostle, the fivefold ministry, the apostle, the pastor, the teacher. Those are spiritual mantles. In the marketplace, they are not called apostle. They're not called pastor. They're not called, but they still manifest.
Others are sales.
Yeah, sales could be a sapphire because sapphires, you know. Then the emerald could be an advisor.
Yes.
Then the red is usually a forerunner, a leader.
Yes.
Because you carry an apostolic mantle. Because an apostle builds and lives.
The entrepreneurs, the CEOs.
Exactly. So we need to relate it like that. But you see, when we're taught in church, we think that those callings are just for church. No, I carry an apostolic prophetic mantle. So I can see a lot of discernment, the prophetic gift, and that helps an apostle because an apostle gives direction. So for many times I would write things and God would say, make it plain and let them run with it. So that's how I discovered me. So that's who I am. So we all need to discover who we are.
Absolutely.
And until I become, the others may not become.
We'll be right back. Do not conform any longer to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Welcome back.
So that is very, very important.
So those are some of the hints.
Yes, and sometimes it's even the things you don't like. The things you think that disturb you. If you walk into a place and the place is untidy, it's disturbing you. What's your purpose? Ask yourself. There are things you will notice, others won't. You walk into a place and people think it's normal, but you've seen something. What irritates you the most? Or what is it that you can do for free? You can shoot for free.
Yeah, absolutely.
There you are.
I even do it in the middle of the night.
There you are. So purpose is speaking. It's embedded in there.
Someone was just telling me, say, you look tired. I said, no. I probably was looking tired then, but the moment I switched on the cameras, the tiredness just goes away because
you're in your purpose. You're doing purpose. And you enjoy life. Absolutely. Life becomes so different. It's not a burden anymore. Yes. The things that matter don't even matter anymore. Yes. Because you are in purpose. You know how miserable it is not to know purpose. But when you found purpose, you enjoy what you're doing. And you do it with excellence. Because that is who you are. I wrote another book called When Your What Becomes Your Who. Because your what is not your who. Most people, who are you? I'm a teacher. No. That's your what.
That's what you do.
That's your what.
Yeah.
It's not your who. The what changes as life goes on. Huh?
Absolutely.
You were this, you were that, it changes. But your who never changes.
I remember the man who mentored me in piano playing once asked me, "Are you still playing?" I said, "Sorta." And I think he may have felt a little disappointed because he taught me keyboards when I was 13. And I was expecting that in my 40s I'd be doing the same. I still play very eloquently. I play, but a lot of things, it has changed because that is just what I was doing. And what I'm doing now doesn't really, but who I am, transposing that creativity and moving that message. What tools I use has changed, but who I am has not. What I do has changed, but who I am is the same.
Exactly.
So I understand.
So you are born with the who you are.
Yeah, but what you do changes over time.
Yeah.
So maybe one day I might be, the president of the AU. Who knows?
Who knows? That's your what. And then destiny.
We've talked basically about the fact that God really decides our purpose way before we were born. And we've talked about the fact that it is important for us to know what our purpose is. And then we have also talked about some hints along the way that could show us, you probably your purpose probably lies in this place and so on and so forth. But let's talk to youths, young people, and parents who are raising up children. How can we help the young people and parents who are raising up young people to allow that child to flow into the areas of their purpose and in their hints, so to say? What tools can you give to parents and to children so that they allow themselves to flow to become who God has
created them to be?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, and I think over the years, I think our generation of parents are parenting a little bit different from the way we were brought up by our parents. In those days, you had to become what they want you to become. And sometimes it depended also on your results. Did you do well enough? Be a doctor. Do engineering. Do law. If you didn't do good enough, maybe a teacher, a nurse,
a police officer.
A police officer. So they would do that. Without recognizing your gifts and talents. So as a parent, it's important to recognize the gifts and the talents. You see, what we've done, we turned the whole thing around. We took education ahead of the gift. Whereas we should have recognized the gift and then qualified the gift by some education to improve the gift that already existed. Because the Word of God will tell you that it's your gift that brings you before great men. And it's your gift actually that brings you wealth. It's not the engineering degree that will bring you the wealth if you're not called in it. Okay? So imagine you have a child and you realize that this child, each time someone is sick, this child brings water. They're small, but they're caring, they're what? So you're already thinking, okay, this child is a caregiver. So when this child grows up and then decides she wants to do nursing, and you say, no, go and do law. What are you doing? The child may eventually agree to do the law, but the child is not fulfilled because what they really wanted was to care for people. So as parents, we should observe our children and see what gifts do these children have. If you go to America, for instance, a lot of the young billionaires are not even educated. They just high school and that's it. Then they went into network marketing and acting and dancing, and they're billionaires. Why? Because they were allowed to become. But then if we miss the mark, then you find you go to work every day, but you are miserable. You earn the money, but you are so miserable. What is more important? The money or your joy? So those who are bold enough, they leave and just say, you know what, let it be. Let me go and do what I am. Yeah.
This is Transforming Lives with Dr. Liya. We'll be right back. Info at transformwithdrleah.com. Welcome back.
I remember my daughter, I believe you shared the birthday with my daughter, don't you?
Yeah.
January 21st, yes. So on one of her birthdays, I bought her a keyboard because I play keyboard. They just damaged it.
You see?
But my son, who's now 5 years old, when we're dropping off his sisters at school, and he sits in the back seat, he's always like, oh, let's play some music. It's him who has the music in him, literally. Yeah. And what's funny now is that he has this tablet that he plays with. Of everybody else in the home, he's the only one who knows how to frame a picture properly, holds the camera right. And he's only 5. Older sisters, even the mother can't frame. He does it right. So sometimes, yes, it's important.
You must identify, and then encourage the child. Encourage them in that. And then, now there's so many courses children can do. So you look at what the child is good at, what they're passionate about, and align it. We have sons who want to cook. And what's wrong with that? You know what I mean? Send him to a chefing school and let him go and learn how to cook. Because he's always hanging around in the kitchen and he goes, what did you put in there? Well, and you notice, oh, okay, do you want to learn how to cook? But, sometimes as a parent, you okay, you're going to cooking. How can you be a chef? Go and be an engineer, go and be a, So we should be very careful about that because the blessing lies in doing purpose. God sent us here for purpose, and we need to do purpose in order to solve certain things.
Yes, and isn't it profound that sometimes as parents we are moving our children away from the purpose for which God meant for them, and we're moving them always to please us.
And yet we are stewards only. These are God's people. In each one of them, He put purpose. So we really have no right to push them away from purpose. That's how we sometimes chase them from home because they don't feel comfortable, because we are imposing what is not them. So we have to be very, very careful when we are bringing up children. We have to be very careful because, again, I said earlier that we are just stewards. God has just said, look here, look after this one for me. But He has His purpose. And we have to usher them into purpose.
And also something that's crossing my mind now is, again, parents, as we raise up our children, sometimes we get confused. We think the purpose for our children is the same, isn't it? Like we think all of these should be engineers, or they should be all be career people, isn't it? We kind of think, sometimes we even think being a musician is like, that's not the kind of life. I don't know what help we need as parents to come to a place where we allow for God's purpose to be what we just mentor in those kids. We may not know it.
I think the starting point is to sow the seed, is to ensure that these children come to know God for themselves. Okay? Once they have known God for themselves, God looks after them. You see, what we don't realize is that God looks after them. I remember one time one of my daughters out in Australia, and I was worrying about her so much, and I remember going to some Bible study somewhere, and I was almost in tears and worrying, and then someone just said to me, "Don't, why? That child was created by God, and she's God's person. God will take care of her." So we as parents want to be overprotective, and as we are doing that overprotection, we are misleading the child. So sometimes let them fall. Let them fall, so that they can learn and get up. As long as you have that seed.
Strength is found in the getting up. That's how they discover their strength.
But when they fall, don't say, I told you. No, that's wrong. That's where now you come in with love. Because love then becomes the most important thing. No matter what the child has done, it's the love that will make that child stand up again. But if you're going to again step on that wound and, yeah, you see, I told you, I used to tell you, didn't I tell you? No, that's not the language that will build the child. You have to love even in that, no matter how painful. Go and cry in the bedroom, but come out strong and say, Sonny, you made a mistake. And I hope you have learned from your mistake. Don't do this again. Life is not like that. And you get up and continue.
Wow, time flies. I don't know what your last remarks would be on this subject of purpose.
Yeah, I think for me, second to salvation, the most important thing is to find purpose. Purpose really gives you a reason to live. Even on your dying bed, it gives you a reason to live. And it's important for you to become in order for others to become. Become so that others can. And don't be afraid to shine. Don't be afraid. Don't think I was shy away, me, I can't do. No. Become. Shine so that others will shine.
That's right, because obviously when we find the fortitude to shine, our light seems to give permission to others to also shine.
Exactly.
Well, as we end our episode all the time, till the next episode.
Thank you.
www.transformwithdrliya.com